Okay, so we are officially going to get started. So welcome to the How to Master Chronic Pain Naturally workshop. In this training, I'm going to talk to you about chronic pain and how to address chronic pain specifically, because it's not quite as it's not quite the same as ordinary aches, pains, and injuries. Okay. And so this is a really important conversation to be having. And I'm really glad that you're here. I don't take it lightly that you've committed to spending this time with me. It's going to be about an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour or so. And so, as I mentioned earlier, it's an interactive training. I'm going to be checking in with you quite frequently throughout our chat. So to get some feedback and to make sure we're all on the same page and make sure you're absorbing the information well. So definitely get comfortable using the chat and popping in there when I'm asking for feedback. All right. Okay, Jessica, it's okay. You can log off. If you're not well, just request a recording in the email. Okay. All right. So you're here for a reason today. You're likely feeling pretty frustrated with stubborn pain. You've probably tried hundreds of different things in the past, and maybe even some of the things that you've tried that have worked in the past are not working anymore. And so it's time for us to learn a different way of doing things, because what you're doing just isn't getting you the results that you desire. You're tired of feeling tired and sore and achy all the time with no energy for the fun stuff in life, right? And so you're here because you want to ease the pain naturally. So let's have a conversation about it so you can start feeling better and get back in control of your life again. And in order to do that, you really need to give yourself this time back to yourself. So take a moment to grab that notepad or scratch sheet of paper if you haven't already, and something to write with, because I'm sure you're going to want to take some notes today. And I'd also suggest that you cut out the other distractions and stop multitasking. I'm always guilty of this. So go ahead and silence your phone, close the other tabs on your browsers and your computer, so that way you really have an opportunity to focus on the information that I'm sharing, and that you can really then get everything out of this workshop that you want to get out of it. Okay, so if you can do that for me. And also, I'm just going to turn off my camera to kind of cut out some of that distraction for myself, and that way make it less likely for my Zoom to crash, because we definitely don't want that. So you're going to see my video disappear, but don't worry, I am still here. Okay. Excuse me. And so I do have a really fantastic gift for those who plan to stay till the end. I do promise you that everything I'm going to share during this workshop today is really important. But at the end of the workshop, I'm going to share with you a copy of my chronic pain journal. And this is a really valuable resource and tool, because it's got some essential journal pages for you to not only track your pain and other symptoms, but it's going to help you focus more on your pain management routine and less on your pain. And it will help you stay on track and be more consistent with your strategies, with the strategies that can help you to manage your pain naturally. Okay, so if you want a free copy of my chronic pain journal, you're going to need to stick around till the end, because like I said, I'm going to give a link towards the end so you can download this for free and start using it right away. So let me know in the comments if you plan to stay around till the end. Just type "I'm staying" if you commit to staying till the end, not only to gather the information I'm going to be sharing with you, but also to grab this bonus gift. So just type "I'm staying," or give me a thumbs up in the comments if you plan to stay till the end. Cool. So we have Catherine says "I'm staying," Dawn says "I'm staying," Estee, "I'm staying," Lindsay, "I'm staying," lots of "I'm staying." So wonderful, wonderful. Glad you guys are gonna make that commitment. Okay, so here's my promise to you today. By the end of this workshop, I will show you how to shift away from relying solely on pills, procedures, and painful physical therapy exercises to knowing what steps to take to avoid flare-ups so you can manage your pain naturally on a neurologic level and get back to a pain-free, fulfilling life. Okay. Specifically, at the end of this training, you're going to understand what influences pain and what we can do about it. We're going to debunk some of the myths around pain management and give you tools to empower you to manage your pain naturally on your own. You're going to discover why what you've been doing isn't working, and I'm going to walk you through what to do instead. And of course, we're going to talk about the nervous system. Okay. The good news is that you don't have to become a holistic health guru or a neuroscience, or you're not, I cannot talk, sorry. You do not have to become a holistic health guru or a neuroscientist or a brain surgeon. It's definitely not as hard as you think, or you may think. And just because you have chronic pain doesn't mean that you can't get better. I promise you that your body is not broken, you're not crazy, your pain is not all in your head, and your nervous system is not misfiring, but it may just need a bit of a tune-up. Okay, so let's skip over all the Googling and the trial and error and the overwhelm and just get to the root of what works. So does that sound good? I know when I made the connection to really understanding what chronic pain is on a neurologic level and how we should support our nervous system, it made a massive difference. It literally has changed the way that I treat chronic pain forever. And in fact, it led me to actually ditch my stable career as a physical therapist. And I'll share more on that in a minute, because clearly that wasn't the solution. This is what I share with my clients to help change their lives, and I know it can help change yours too. So type yes in the comments if this is sounding very exciting to you because you want to get all of this information. Catherine says yes. Lindsay says yes. Oh, tons and tons of yeses. Wonderful. Okay. So let me know if you can relate to any of this, and just type yes in the chat when you see something you can relate to. So you've tried every pain relief gimmick, gadget, and remedy under the sun, and nothing seems to work. So like I said, just give me a yes if any of these are relating to you. So you've tried, you're tired of being told there's nothing wrong with you and it's all in your head. Then you can't quite be in that much pain. You're fed up with taking medications that have nasty side effects and only cover up the symptoms like a Band-Aid. You're constantly trying to push through pain because it seems like it's the only way to get anything done. You're tired of feeling frustrated by the medical system and are tired of waiting and relying on doctors to help you, but you're unsure how to get in control of your pain, your body, and your life. So can you relate to any of these? Let me know in the comments if this sounds familiar to you. I'm seeing lots and lots of yeses, lots of yeps. And so if you're nodding your head yes in agreement with any of these points, I promise you, you're not alone. And I'm not a stalker, but I've just seen this situation over and over again, and I'm with you on all of these things. And I promise you, whatever it is that you're doing now or what you've tried that isn't working or hasn't worked, it's not your fault. It's not because you did something wrong or didn't try hard enough. It's really hard to know what to believe, who's right and who to trust. And it can be exhausting to try to figure it all out on your own, especially when the medical system doesn't seem to have the answers. And while you trust your doctors, at this point, you probably tried just about anything to get rid of your pain and have energy again and feel good again, except nothing seems to work. And so today we're going to talk about what does work. But first, I want you to picture this. So imagine being able to wake up in the morning feeling confident and energized, not having to worry if it's going to be a good or bad pain day, without pain slowing you down or having to get out of bed like an old lady. Imagine not needing to rely solely on doctors and pills. Imagine being able to play with your kids, go on hikes, travel, do day-to-day activities without pain ruining your plans or preventing you from making them. Imagine feeling less trapped in your body and less afraid to move and exercise. Imagine finally being able to feel normal and be spontaneous and be the fearless version of yourself again. This is something that my client was able to say to me after 20 years of disabling pain, that she finally felt like she had her identity back, which is heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. It's heartwarming to hear that, but heartbreaking because that means that she spent 20 years of her life without being able to say that. 20 years of not feeling like herself and losing her identity for 20 years. Because what I'm about to share with you is going to help you start giving your body what it really needs so you can change your pain for the better, start feeling more energy, and be able to do more of what brings you joy without causing more pain. And I promise you, this is 100% possible. Even though you have chronic pain, you can start feeling better, regardless of if you have a condition that can't be cured, regardless of what you've tried in the past, regardless of even if your whole family had bone on bone arthritis and you come from a really long line of bad backs. All of this is entirely possible when we start to tune into what's going on deeper beyond the joints and muscles and tissues and nerves on the surface level. when we start to focus on the deeper cause, the rest is easy. And who doesn't like easy, right? So before we go any further, I feel like it's only appropriate for me to formally introduce myself because, oh, sorry, I thought I lost a slide because there's a few of you here, sorry, whose names I do recognize, but there's quite a few of you here who I don't. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alissa. I'm a wife and a mom to these two beautiful creatures here. And I've lived all over the country, the United States. So Pennsylvania, California, Kansas, Hawaii, Iowa, and like I said, I'm moving to Texas on Monday. I have experience in treating chronic pain since 2014. I'm a chronic pain specialist trained by the International Spine and Pain Institute. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, a board certified orthopedic specialist, and the founder of the Chronic Pain Breakup Method. I'm extremely committed to doing what I do. I have and always will value evidence-based practice, and therefore I'll never share information that isn't backed by pain neuroscience research or clinical trials. I get the struggles of never-ending failed treatments, one after another, the disappointment that you feel, and the frustration and letdown you probably feel with the medical system. And so I don't want you to have to continue getting passed around the medical system, tossed from doctor to doctor or specialist to specialist, where no one has any answers and no one seems to listen, and where you get brushed off and disregarded and minimized. And frankly, I think all of that is just bullshit. It actually enrages me. Excuse me. And so I've made it my goal since I was a brand new physical therapist to be that safe place for people with chronic pain. I wanted to be the one to listen and share real knowledge and be humble enough to say when there wasn't something that when there was something that I didn't know, and to be brave enough and bold enough to try something that was a little out of my comfort zone. And so I'm not going to lie, I wasn't always this way. So this was me in 2014 as a proud new doctor of physical therapy with my now husband next to me. And back then, I can remember thinking, I can't wait to get out there and fix broken people. And I had just had my ego inflated and my head so stuffed so full with all of this knowledge of anatomy, physiology, rehab exercises, manual therapy, and modalities. But very quickly in the real world, I found that I didn't have the magic wand. And when what I was taught was the solution oftentimes didn't work, I felt defeated. When I asked my colleagues, what could I do to help these patients with chronic pain who felt worse after their physical therapy visits, I was given such a disheartening answer. Basically, they'd say to me, well, they have to want to get better. You can't force them to be compliant. Either they'd say something like that, or if it hurts, that means it's working. And so just have them do more of it. And when I checked, this wasn't something supported by the research. So I wasn't okay with accepting this as an answer. Oh, thank you, Heidi. And so when I checked, this wasn't supported by the research. And so I started throwing some spaghetti at the wall and to see what would stick. And I tried everything with my patients: joint manipulations, mobilization, massage, trigger point release, fascia rolling, ultrasound, taping, lasers, all of it. And none of it worked. Okay. So does that sound a little bit like your journey in some ways? Let me know in the comments if you can relate, because you see, while you were struggling with your trial and error, I was too. I was learning what I had been taught was wrong and it didn't work. And I was frustrated. And in fact, I realized that in many cases, the advice that I've been given to push people to do more exercises, even when it hurts, even when it causes more pain, that means it's working. That advice was doing more harm than good. And so does that sound like your story at all? Have you spent years pushing yourself through pain and into pain over and over again? Lindsay says yes. Catherine says yes. PTs have said those awful things to me, and that you weren't trying. Yes. Carolyn says yes. Ronnie says nailed it. 100% yes. Yes. So if that's you, I want you to know right now that it's not your fault. this push through it mindset is ingrained in us culturally. It's part of our worldview, and it's part of our training in the medical system. We were trained to have this walk it off, no pain, no gain attitude about things. We were not taught that all of that could be harmful for us. So there I was back in 2014, well, 15 really, feeling really frustrated and defeated, feeling like a failure. And I'll never forget, a colleague of mine actually said to me, "You care too much. And trust me, at some point you'll burn out too, and you'll just stop caring." And so at that point, I felt like I had a choice to make. I had to decide if I wanted to be like every other physical therapist and accept that I just wouldn't be able to help everyone, and that eventually that I would just stop caring, or I could choose to step out of my comfort zone and try something new. Ultimately, I decided that even if I didn't know everything right then, even if I didn't have all the answers right away, that I would be that safe place to land for people with chronic pain, because I didn't see it exist anywhere else in the medical system, and it certainly didn't exist in any of my colleagues. My colleagues all thought I was crazy for choosing to specialize in chronic pain. So I decided that I was going to listen to my patients with chronic pain and actually learn from them. And I was going to keep searching for scientific, evidence-based answers and solutions. And that decision led me to realize that what we had been focusing on when treating people with chronic pain, what I had been taught about pain, was all wrong. I learned some pretty mind-blowing science that shattered my beliefs about what pain was and how to treat it. What I learned was that stubborn pain wasn't a psychological condition caused by repressed emotions. It wasn't that people with chronic pain were all weak and uncoordinated with bad joints. Instead, I learned that chronic pain was much more complicated. It went deeper than just the joints, muscles, ligaments, fascia, nerves, and discs. I learned that it involved a problem within the nervous system, the system that allows us to experience pain in the first place. And I learned that stubborn pain involved a problem in, like I said, in the nervous system. And with this new information, I had another decision to make. What was I going to do with this information? And it meant that I had to step out of my comfort zone of traditional physical therapy exercises and try implementing something that I had never seen done before. And I wasn't sure if I was ready to do that. And then there was Deanna. Deanna had been doing physical therapy with me twice a week for over 6 months. She had back pain for years, but started coming to physical therapy this round because she started having this new hip pain and leg pain and numbness. And so she couldn't sit, she couldn't make it through a full week of work without taking days off. She was trying to get her PhD, but she was struggling to focus and make progress. She couldn't sleep and was depressed, and she wasn't getting any better. And so every day she came into the clinic with that same 6 out of 10 hip pain. Her MRI and her nerve conduction studies were all within normal limits. The gabapentin and the antidepressants weren't doing anything for her pain, only causing her to feel like she was in a fog. And so it seemed for her, her only hope was physical therapy. But we were 6 months in, and she had plateaued in her care with physical therapy. And as her physical therapist, I was frustrated. She was frustrated, she was tired, but she hadn't given up hope. And so one day, I got the courage to bring up this new idea I had learned about in some of my post-grad specialty training. I told her that this was something I had never done before, but if she would be open to it, it might be worth a try. And thankfully, she was willing. And despite me feeling like a total imposter, not really knowing what I was doing, together, we tried this out-of-the-box method that I'd never seen done before in any physical therapy clinic and only read about in textbooks and medical journals. So it was uncomfortable for me. And of course, I worried how this would look to insurance companies and how it would look to the other therapists that I worked with. But ultimately, I stepped out of my traditional physical therapy comfort zone. And in just 4 weeks, Deanna stopped coming to PT. And at first I was super worried that it failed. Maybe she stopped coming because it weirded her out and she just didn't want to tell me that it wasn't for her, right? But then I ran into Deanna outside of a coffee shop in town. And to my own disbelief, she said to me that she was actually doing amazing. She stopped coming to PT because she felt better. And in fact, she was feeling so much better that she was actually playing soccer again and working full weeks at work. So isn't that amazing? So who's with me on that? Isn't that cool? I don't want you to have to take my word for it. So I'm going to share Deanna's story with you. I have a video for you. So let me pull up her video. Give me a second. Sorry, this will take me just a moment. Let's hear Deanna's story.
My name is Deanna, and I am a researcher, and I've had pain on and off for about 15 years. One of the things that I learned is that I'm not making up my pain, like it actually exists. There's still something that's going on there causing the pain, and it's helped me overall manage my pain a lot better and to be able to function in life on a high level. It's changed my life tremendously. It's a night and day from where I used to be a year to 2 years ago, even 5 years ago. I'm much better placed now implementing these small practices, and it's something that doesn't take 2 or 3 hours a day to do. You don't have to spend hours at a gym to try to fix anything, hours in physical therapy. It's small steps, 10-20 minutes every now and then. So it's made a huge impact in my life. I'm having longer stretches of good days where I'm not in severe pain, where I can't get out of bed. I'm actually able to go to work and enjoy a full week at work. I don't have to live in fear that I'm gonna one day not be able to walk again, or I'm not gonna be able to get out of bed because I'm in so much pain. I'm happy again, and I'm not constantly miserable because I'm in pain.
Okay, so hopefully you can hear me again. So isn't that cool? So tell me in the comments, would you like to have an experience like Deanna? Yes, Catherine says, I hope to be the next Deanna. Lisa says, very good. Chrissy says, my dream. Lindsay says, go back to teaching. Okay, so Deanna is a total sweetheart, but honestly, let me get back on track. Okay, so Deanna was able to start feeling better and get back to working and enjoying working full work weeks. And something she didn't mention in the video is that she was playing soccer again. All because together she and I made a decision to step out of our comfort zone, try something neither of us had much experience with at the time, and just to be open-minded to see what could come of it. And I think to both of our surprise, it worked incredibly well. Running into Deanna on the street that day, finding out how well she was doing was a turning point for me in my career. Because I needed the validation that this method could work, and seeing her succeed in such a relatively short period of time was proof that approaching pain from a nervous system perspective could actually be applied in real life in a simple and easy and effective way. The daily physical therapy exercises and medications and injections were not doing it for her. And the reason was ultimately because the exercises and other treatments she was trying were so focused on one side of her pain, but didn't address what was going on underneath all the joints and muscles in her nervous system. She didn't need more testing, more imaging, more pills, physical therapy, chiropractic care, injections, surgery, or any of these techniques that just addressed her symptom of pain. Once she began to address the deeper cause of her pain, everything changed. And I want to share with you how we did that so you can skip over all the trial and error too, and stop wasting time and start feeling better. Because there is a simpler way to feel less pain, have fewer flare-ups, and more energy without doing the painful physical therapy exercises and without all the risky procedures and pills, or having to become a holistic health guru. So I want you to type yes in the comments if you want a simpler way of doing things, because you've probably tried all the things that were really hard and really difficult. It's overwhelming, and we don't have the time or the mental bandwidth for all this complicated stuff and all the trial and error. So type yes if you want a simpler way of doing things. Heidi says yes. Shauna says yes. Lisa, of course. Jennifer, oh, hell yes. Love it, Jennifer. And so I'm about to share with you the 3 secrets of finding natural chronic pain relief. But first, I want you to think back on all the things that you've tried to manage your pain, okay? And so I want to hear from you. What have you tried in the past? So we're going to do a quick poll. Let me know in the chat, which of these or others have you tried? So just type in the number, like 1 for PT, type 5 for weight loss, And so which of these have you tried? And I know that there are other things. There's probably so many other things that you've tried that are not listed, and there's really no way that I could put everything down here, but just to get an idea and get you thinking back on all the things that you've tried, let me know what you've tried. And if you can, if you have a sheet of paper or a scratch paper, I want you to, as quickly as possible, list out the things that you've tried to manage your pain and write out as many as you can remember and just jot them down quickly. And it doesn't have to be an all-inclusive list. And then let me know in the chat what you've tried, okay? So I'm seeing, let's see, I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. Heidi says 2. Lindsay says 1, 2, 4, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Carolyn 1, 6, 7, 9. Chrissy says all except 10. Dawn says most but not acupuncture. 10 plus an additional. Jennifer says 10 plus an additional at least 10 more. All of them plus more, everything but surgery, everything but 3. So yes. I'm sure there's much more that I haven't listed that y'all have tried. So next question, which of these has helped with your pain? So which of these has provided long-lasting, satisfying pain relief? And instead of the numbers, since this is a different question, just enter the corresponding letters. So what has helped? What helped you relieve your pain and give you real pain relief? So tell me in the chat and then run through your list, the one that you have written down, and mark the ones that have helped, like really helped, with a little star. Okay, so Shauna says none. SJ says 0. Deborah says none. Katrina, none. Stacy, zilch. Lots of none. Chrissy says diet helped, but not completely. Stacy, all have been short-term relief. Diet sort of. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that I hear all the time from people that I talk with who have chronic pain, that nothing really works. And if it does, it only provides temporary relief or partial relief, which is okay, but not really what we're going for, right? And of course, it's very disappointing and can be very discouraging, and it can zap the hope right out of you and make you just want to give up. But what if we actually look at those treatments that didn't work, and instead of looking at them as failures, what if we look at them as guideposts leading us in the right direction? And that's what we're going to do today, because if something didn't work, that actually provides really useful information about what the problem is. And so, in other words, having failed treatments tells us more about the root cause of pain. And so we're going to use that list that you just wrote down to help us learn more about your pain, okay? And that brings me to essential number 1 for today, the real reason why nothing has worked, okay? So if you have your list of failed treatments and all of the things that you've tried in front of you, what we want to do is go through that list one at a time and try to identify what broad problem each one of those treatments is designed to solve. In other words, we want to categorize each of the things that you've tried by the type of problem it solves. Does that make sense? And so in a very broad sense, there are 4 broad categories that we can classify our treatments into. I have 3 of them listed here. So we have treatments that solve the problem of pain intensity, treatments that address the structural or mechanical faults, and treatments that take a more mental health approach or address our stress responses. The 4th treatment category is not listed here, but I will tell you more about what that is later. Okay, so first of all, we want to look at, on your list, we want to look for those treatments that address pain intensity. Okay, so these are things like your medications, your TENS or your electrical stimulation, and injections. So I want you to look through your list and just write the word intensity next to all of the treatments on your list that fall into this category. Now, the problem with most treatments that fall into this category is that they address the symptom of pain, not the cause of pain. Okay, so imagine listening to the radio turned up way too loud, right? When it's that loud, it's hard to think, it's hard to communicate or get anything done. In this case, there's nothing wrong with the speakers that you're listening to the radio on. The problem is the loudness. Imagine listening to the radio. Oh, whoops, sorry about that. If you put on a pair of earmuffs, the sound is quieter, but the problem is still there. The loudness is still there. And so having chronic pain means you have a loudness problem. The intensity of the pain is turned up too loud, and the medications that fall into this category of pain intensity, they only address the pain intensity. They're like wearing earmuffs. They are a quick and easy but temporary solution that doesn't have any effect on the actual problem, which is the loudness or the intensity of the pain. So we now know that this loudness problem is caused by the nervous system. Our nervous system is trying to protect us, keep us safe, keep us alive. And so when we ignore the alarms and muffle the intensity, what can happen is the nervous system can turn that alarm up louder and louder and louder, which is why some medications aren't very effective after a while and could actually be making the problem worse. But you know what? It makes sense why we would use these treatments, because the problem you feel, the symptom you experience, is a pain problem. And so logically, we sometimes get too focused on trying to reduce the intensity of the pain or muffle the volume. And we forget that we can actually have way more control over the volume dial itself than we do over the loudness that we hear. So we have less control over the intensity of pain experience and more control over the volume dial, which is our nervous system. So at this point on your list, you should have labeled all of the treatments on your list that address pain intensity with the word intensity. Excuse me. Next, we want to highlight the treatments that address structural or mechanical faults. And so these are treatments like physical therapy, chiropractic care, surgery, and weight loss. These are our treatments that help us improve range of motion, flexibility, joint mobility, joint integrity, muscle strength, coordination, alignment, joint stability, those sorts of things. So look through your list and write the word structural next to those treatments that fall into this category. Now, when treatments in this category are showing up on your list of failed treatments, this is actually very useful information. This tells us more information about what type of problem you have, because all these treatments solve a mechanical or structural problem, and when they haven't helped, then maybe the problem isn't purely a mechanical or structural. So let's take this light here as an example. Let's say one day you flip the light switch and it doesn't turn on. Now you're smart, so you grab a new light bulb and you change the light bulb. Great. You flip the switch, but it still doesn't turn on. That's weird, right? And a little frustrating, but you think, well, maybe it's just a faulty bulb. And so you unscrew that bulb and try another. Flip the switch, and yet again, still nothing, it's still not working. And at this point, you start scratching your head because you're realizing that maybe the light bulb isn't the problem. But what the heck, let's try it one more time. So you grab one more fresh, brand new light bulb. This time you grab a light bulb with a different wattage than before, just in case you've got your new, slightly different light bulb. You screw it in, flip the switch, and still no light. So now it should be pretty clear that you don't have a faulty light bulb, and you don't need to be an electrician to see that there's probably something going on in your electrical wiring for your light. So the physical therapy, chiropractic care, surgery, and weight loss are all solve a structural or mechanical related problem. That means that the physical therapy, chiropractic care, surgery, and weight loss, these are our light bulbs. They are all slightly different types of light bulbs. And when we try these same treatments or similar treatments that solve the same type of problem over and over again, expecting a different result, it's like changing the light bulb over and over and over and never learning that maybe there's another issue going on. You don't need diagnostic testing to figure this out, to figure out that you might have an electrical wiring problem or a nervous system problem, when you've already done the diagnostic process of trial and error. Did I miss something? I'm trying to read back in some of these comments before I move on. So I'm just going to keep going. And if you guys have questions, I do have a Q&A at the end. Okay. And so what these treatments, what these structural or mechanical treatments don't do is address the nervous system problem, the changes in the brain, spinal cord, and peripheral nerves that happen as a result of long-term pain. And those nervous system changes cause and contribute to pain. Okay, so at this point, you should now have labeled all the treatments on your list that address a structural or mechanical problem. Now, you may have tried some treatments that address more of a mental health problem or treatments that help to regulate your stress response. So looking at the remaining treatments on your list that haven't been categorized yet, we want to label those that fall into this category by writing the word stress next to them. So some examples of these treatments are things like the Curable app, the book, The Body Keeps the Score, CBT, trauma therapy, EMDR, somatic tracking, meditation, grounding, tapping, mindfulness, biofeedback, things like that. This is a unique group of treatments that either address our thoughts or emotions or help calm our body down to help shift out of a state of rest and digest, right? In a really broad sense, these things help to regulate our emotions, our mental health, and our thoughts, and our stress levels. So if you've tried these things and they didn't help with your pain, again, that may be an indication that you have a different problem that needs to be solved. So yes, absolutely 100%, your mood, your emotions, your stress levels will influence your experience of pain, and your pain will influence your mental health. But if you have tried these types of treatments and you have not noticed an improvement in your pain, you may have another problem to solve. You may still have a nervous system problem because those treatments do not address the changes in the nervous system. And that is the real reason why nothing has worked in the past, because none of these things that we've tried to address, none of these things address the nervous system problem. They either cover up the pain intensity with a Band-Aid, they may strengthen our joints and muscles, or they may address a problem involving our thoughts, emotions, and stress responses. But if you don't have those problems, those treatments aren't going to fix your problem. I mentioned that there are 4 broad categories of treatments, and that I would tell you about the 4th treatment category. So the 4th treatment category is treatments that address the nervous system problem. They address the changes in the nervous system that cause pain to persist. And it's important that we differentiate these treatments from those that fall into the mental health or stress response category, because sometimes people hear nervous system retraining and they think it involves a brain problem or a thinking problem, like it's some kind of therapy. So to clarify, nervous system retraining does include the brain, but we can't forget that the spinal cord and the peripheral nerves are involved as well. So all 3 parts, the brain, spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves, make up the nervous system. So the activity in our peripheral nerves can change, making them more sensitive, making the pain louder. The activity and signaling in the spinal cord can change, making the pain louder, and the activity, signaling, and structure in the brain can change, making the pain louder. So nervous system retraining is not a psychological treatment, because a nervous system problem is not a thinking problem or a mood problem or a problem of repressed emotions. You might have had trauma, you might be depressed, you might have repressed emotions, but those are separate problems or symptoms from a nervous system problem. I'm not saying that you don't need therapy, because everyone needs therapy or counseling or a life coach, right? But most likely, it's not going to solve your pain problem because you still have a nervous system with these changes. So does that make sense to you guys? Give me some feedback in the chat box just to make sure that we're all on the same page, or give me a thumbs up if this is making sense so far. Deborah says, wow, good to know. It makes sense. Katrina says, yes. Oh my God, yes, 100%. Yep, perfect sense. Cool. And so when we actually address the nervous system problem, we start to see some pretty incredible results. Like my client, Lisa. So she had had head to toe pain for over 10 years. The worst part of her pain was in her back and her shins and ankles. So she had an autoimmune disease, and she had tried everything from dieting to antidepressants to multiple surgeries. Her list of failed treatments was filled with light bulb treatments and treatments that covered up her symptoms like a Band-Aid. And it was a very good indication that she had a nervous system problem. And with a simple step-by-step strategy, teaching her how to retrain her nervous system. In just a few short months, she saw improvements in her pain levels, and reducing the intensity of her pain significantly, and reducing the location of her pain from head to toe to just in her feet. She also saw improvements in her energy level, as you can see here on this graph. Oops, I pushed the wrong slide, wrong direction. There we go. You can see here on this graph that she saw significant improvements in her functional ability and her tolerance for activity, in her ability to walk, stand, squat, climb stairs, and things like that. Here you can see that the degree of which her pain interfered with various aspects of her life decreased significantly. And here you can see that her negative beliefs about pain, her pain-related fear, her pain-related stress levels were practically eliminated entirely, giving her so much more peace of mind and a sense of confidence and control over her pain and her body again. So she said, I am literally living a new life after this program. I no longer live in pain. I don't fear what will happen next. I'm fully in charge of my life, and my body and I have a great understanding. Applying this approach, Lisa started seeing some improvements in her pain in just 1 month that continued to improve for her in the following months. So type yes in the comments if you want to see results like that and are ready to address the problem from a nervous system perspective by adding a whole new category of treatments into the mix. Saying yes. Carolyn says yes. Stacy, yes. Heather, yes. Lisa, yes. Karen, yes. SJ, yes. Lots of yeses. So now let's move on to the next essential. So essential number 2 is overcoming roadblocks. How to stop getting in your own way so you can finally start feeling better and get real lasting improvements in pain. So I really want this for you, and I know that you want this for yourself, but let me be straight with you. You're likely holding on to some false beliefs or practices that are blocking you, that are holding you back from getting the results that you want. So let's dive right in and expose what those lies are, because I want you to get the results that you want and you deserve. Okay. And so I'm going to share the things that I hear most often from people with chronic pain who aren't getting the results they desire, the roadblocks that may be keeping you stuck, so that you can then overcome them. So to do that, as I'm sharing each one of these today, I want you to write each of these roadblocks down as I'm sharing them and mark the ones that you find are causing you to stay stuck. Because if you really actually want to start feeling better, get more in control of your pain, then the first thing you need to do is actually identify where you're getting stuck so you can make a plan that will help you navigate past each one of these roadblocks. Okay, so roadblock number 1, I just push through the pain, right? Is this you? So this thinking that the only way to get anything done is to push through the pain, stuff it down, ignore it, suck it up, push through it, doing too much physically and mentally until you eventually give up, it's too much, and you just have to crash. So type yes if this is you in the comments. This is exactly what my client Lori would do. She was an athlete all her life, and she had this very no pain, no gain mindset. She was stuck in this push and crash cycle where she would try to do everything in those moments where she was feeling a little bit better and then would end up paying for it later. The problem is this cycle only perpetuates the pain. There was too many P's in that sentence. The problem is this cycle only perpetuates the pain problem, because you see, like we can learn, just like we can learn muscle memory for things like riding a bike, tying our shoes, or driving stick shift, we can learn pain. The more pain is rehearsed, those pain pathways in our nervous system get stronger and stronger, which is going to make the pain even harder to break up with. And so we need to ditch the push and crash behavior and the all or nothing mindset, because it's only hurting you more. Roadblock number 2, I just avoid certain activities and movements and positions that cause my pain, right? We avoid movements and activities because of pain and say things like, well, I can't bend down. I can't reach overhead. I can't drive anymore. I can't squat. As humans, we have a tendency to want to avoid pain. And so we very quickly learn to associate certain movements, positions, and activities with pain. And we will oftentimes begin to avoid things that have caused pain in the past. And sometimes this happens on a subconscious level. It may not be a conscious decision to avoid. But it makes sense, doesn't it? Type yes in the comments if this is something that you do. My client Jamie actually told me that in the past, squatting would cause sharp stabbing pain, and so she stopped squatting. She said she hadn't tried squatting for years. Now, obviously, avoiding certain things can be very limiting functionally, because how can you actually get better how can you get better at something if you never do it or never try it? And also, avoidance actually causes a change in the brain that ultimately causes the brain to amplify the volume of the pain alarm. And so instead of avoiding things that make our pain worse, we actually need a way to do them that doesn't cause pain to worsen. So we can get stronger and improve activity tolerance, but also to reverse the neurologic changes inside the brain that make pain worse. So roadblock number 3, I'm waiting to try this other thing first. So this is something I hear a lot, and it breaks my heart, honestly. It's before I try this, I'm going to do this other thing first. Before I try retraining my nervous system, I need to get an MRI first. Before I try retraining my nervous system, I need to get my blood work done and try a bunch of these supplements from this other naturopath. Or before I try retraining my nervous system, I need to have surgery. So this type of inaction absolutely breaks my heart. I totally understand that you want to get everything checked out before you make any decisions. And it totally makes sense to me why you would want to try one thing at a time, like do a surgery or the supplements first, because maybe there's a chance that they'll work. Maybe there's a chance that they'll find something or discover something they didn't see before that they can fix. But if I can be honest with you, when someone says, I'm waiting to try this other thing first, what they're actually saying is, I don't believe I have a nervous system problem. And it tells me that they don't really understand how pain works, like the physiologic mechanism of how pain works. So putting up this wall by waiting is denial of the basic neuroscience of pain. This waiting keeps you in the same holding pattern, and it only leads to more of the same medical treatments, more injections, more medications, and more physical therapy. In my experience, what I've seen is that those who wait end up jumping back on that medical merry-go-round and keep going around and around and only prolong their suffering. So if this is you, it totally makes sense to me that you'd want to take things one step at a time. And what I can say to you is, if you want to get an MRI or your blood work done or try some supplements, do a bit more physical therapy, or even have a surgery, that's okay. But that doesn't have to stop you from addressing the changes in your nervous system that are also causing you more pain. Because nervous system retraining will not negatively affect the next steps that you take. It will only enhance your recovery because it will allow you to address all sides of the problem. Because even if you have the biggest, worst disc bulge or bone spur, the spine of an 80-year-old, and maybe you need to have surgery right away, or you need to get back into physical therapy, or you need to have an injection, none of that stuff is going to address the changes that have already happened in your nervous system as a result of long-term pain. Those changes are there, and doing more surgery or more PT will continue to have the same effect it always has. Again, when we look at that list of failed treatments and you see a bunch of these treatments in the same category, it's unlikely that more treatments in the same category will give you the long-lasting results that you want. Now, with that being said, the only time I'd say it's wise to hold off on doing nervous system retraining is when the mental health problem is a bigger problem than the symptoms of pain. So in that case, it's best to deal with that issue of the mental health problem first, because you won't be able to work around and ignore the deep, heavy emotional stuff in the forefront. And so roadblock number 4, probably the one that I hear most often, is I'm worried this won't work for me. If this is sort of where you're thinking right now, it totally makes sense to me that you're scared that this would be yet another thing that you are trying that didn't work, because you've worked so hard, you've tried so hard to advocate for yourself and to find relief, and you've been disappointed so many times. And it totally makes sense to me that you would be hesitant to try more things, because that is just something that we as humans do when we're contemplating change. And so if this is you, type yes in the chat. If this is you, it makes sense to me that your brain doesn't immediately go to what will happen if this works. It immediately goes to what will happen if this doesn't work. And if this is you, would you be okay? Would you be open to my thoughts on that? This is fear. This is your freeze response. This fear and this freeze response leads to inaction. It tells you that you're safer where you're at right now in your discomfort and your suffering. But just because you're scared and all the what ifs are flooding through your mind doesn't mean that it's not your best next step, your next best step. It doesn't mean that you won't be wildly successful, and it doesn't mean that you're not deserving of healing. Fear is a thing that comes up. It's just a matter of letting it be a passenger and not letting it drive the car, not letting fear dictate our decision making. And also, it does work. It works if you show up and do the work. The only time it doesn't work is when you get scared and shy away, when you're not open and coachable and willing to take direction, to go out and do it and come back and ask for more. And so let me ask you this to kind of approach it from a different direction. What if it does work? What might that look like if it does work? What would your life look like, and how would it be different? So my client Kira was struggling with decades of back pain caused by sickle cell disease, which is a genetic condition that can cause pretty intense pain that is usually compared to the pain of cancer treatment. And so it's an incurable condition. She has a demanding job and 2 kids under the age of 5 and a husband who travels a lot for work. So for a great deal of her life, she pushed through her pain because she felt like she had no other choice. And she had a tendency to avoid certain things that caused her pain in the past. She was relying heavily on taking painkillers and told me that she was afraid to play with her kids and felt guilty about spending so much time in bed. She was at a point physically where she was afraid to even walk to the mailbox and back for fear that it would cause her a flare-up. But in just a few weeks, she was able to start walking every day for 4 to 5 blocks without causing flare-ups. She was able to reduce her pain enough to where she didn't need to take painkillers anymore. I don't even want to gloss over that. She was able to reduce her pain where she didn't need to take painkillers anymore. And she saved them only for the days where her pain really flared up. But those bad days became more and more rare, and the flare-ups lasted shorter and shorter than they used to. So also, you can see here, her energy levels increased. She improved her activity tolerance and functional ability. The degree to which her pain interfered with her day-to-day activities went down. And again, her pain-related negative beliefs and her stress, pain-related fear and stress was practically eliminated. So she was able to play with her 2-year-old on the floor without fear that it would cause her pain. And she was able to get back to working a full-time work schedule. Her life was completely transformed in just a few months. She felt like she was back in control and could be herself again. So isn't that exciting? So let's get into the next essential. And by the way, at the end, we are going to do some Q&A. So make sure you stick around for that. And in the meantime, I want to make sure you're all still with me. Type yes if you're still with me and on board with me and ready for essential number 3. The discovery I made that changed everything. Deborah says yes. Dawn says yep. Linda says yes. Stacy yes. Ronnie yes. Carolyn yes. Good. All right. So moving on to the 3rd essential. What is required to beat chronic pain? This is the discovery that I made that changed everything for me in the way that I treat chronic pain, enough to make me leave the clinic and ditch my career as a physical therapist so that I could really help change the lives of people with chronic pain by providing these elements that were required to beat chronic pain. And it boils down to 5 elements. And this is the exact framework I've used and use now with all my clients to get them on their way to lasting pain relief. So element number 1, we have to address the root cause, which you now know are the changes in your nervous system. Without addressing the nervous system, we're going to let a huge part of the problem go unsolved. And that's why the other things that you've tried in the past haven't worked. Second, we need a daily practice of simple pain retraining drills and strategies. we need to start practicing a simple pain retraining routine that incorporates nervous system retraining drills, brain-based drills, and incorporates a new approach to movement, stretching, and exercise. And we also need some strategies that support and enhance nervous system retraining. Third, we need a step-by-step plan in place that actually addresses how to retrain each individual change that happens in the nervous system one at a time. We need simple, practical action steps, simple strategies and drills to help retrain the nervous system from the bottom up by changing the sensitivity of our peripheral nerves, and from the top down by modifying the activity and structure in our brain and spinal cord and teasing apart those hardwired pain pathways. And we need a solid framework that's easy to implement even when shit hits the fan, that we can fit into the busiest lives. We need to know how to keep it all together on the good days and when things don't go according to plan. These are the exact steps I integrated into my Chronic Pain Breakup Method program that my clients are now journeying through, so that they know what to do and why, so that they never have to wonder what they can do to prevent or manage their pain, or to progress their plan when they feel better, or what to do when their pain flares. Having a step-by-step plan takes out the decision fatigue, because when it's planned out, it becomes a routine, and routines are far easier to maintain than deciding every day. Fourth, you need an expert, a professional that you can ask questions to and get support and accountability from, right? You spend way too much time Googling and reading and watching random videos. It's like treading water. You'll feel like you're drowning if you don't have someone there to keep you going and give you a floaty and teach you how to swim. That's why I built this critical component into my program. So my clients like Kelly went from feeling paralyzed with inaction to feeling propelled to beneficial action with the close attention and accountability that she so needed. And as a result, Kelly began seeing a difference in her pain and activity levels. And this made a huge impact because it meant that she could get back to living her life, being present with her kids, and running her business without so much fear and anxiety holding her back. Having the benefit of working with a professional alongside you will not only bolster your knowledge base, but also give you a sense of commitment and accountability. And the fifth element of success is the element of community, because from what I've seen, one of the hardest parts about chronic pain is that no one understands what it's like, and it's incredibly isolating and lonely. Type yes in the comments if you agree. Which is why having a community of supporters around you is incredibly important. Abby says yes. Dawn says yes. Carolyn, yes. Heather, yes. 100% agree. Having people in your world who get it and share their struggles, things that have worked and have not worked, cheering each other on and providing encouragement through the tough moments and celebrating the wins as well. This type of community is vital to your recovery, because humans are community creatures. We thrive in community. We are not meant to exist in solitary boxes. And so that is why community is a necessary element for success. Now, when we look at all 5 of these elements, tell me, which of these do you think you'll be able to find in the healthcare system? And be honest. Tell me in the chat, which of these things can you expect to find in the medical system? 1 or 2 of them, all of them, none of them. Carolyn says none. Stacy says none. Deborah says none. Karen says none. Lindsay, from community. None. Nope. So it sucks, doesn't it? So these elements for success are the exact things that seem to be lacking in our healthcare system, because it's a sick care system that is not designed to help people help themselves and support them with natural pain management solutions. And that is exactly why I got out of the clinic in the healthcare industry, because there was too much red tape and restrictions preventing me from providing these elements that people really needed to be successful. So I want to recap everything that we went over today. There we go. The real reason why nothing has worked is because most of the treatments we've tried focus on a symptom of pain and covering it up like a Band-Aid instead of getting to the root of the pain, or they only address structural or mechanical issues and don't address the changes in the nervous system that are causing and contributing to pain. And when we ignore the nervous system, it only makes pain louder and harder to ignore. So we need to address the changes in our nervous system if we want to have lasting impact on our pain. Then we discovered how to stop getting in your own way. So we went over why pushing through pain isn't helping, and maybe making the pain problem worse, making our pain pathways stronger, and therefore making our pain harder to break up with. We discovered that avoiding certain activities keeps us weak and disabled and also causes changes in the brain that result in an amplification of pain. We discussed how waiting to address the nervous system to try other things only prolongs our suffering and contributes to more disappointment with the medical and healthcare system. And we identified that fear may be keeping us frozen in a state of inactivity, preventing us from getting better. And lastly, I walked you through the 5 elements that are required to beat chronic pain, which is the exact method I use with all my clients to help them successfully ease their pain naturally. And you showed up here today because you want to be able to prevent, manage, and treat your pain without having to use more pills, procedures, or painful physical therapy exercises. You know you need something different, but you have no idea where to start. You want a simpler way to relieve your pain without all the Googling or having to become a holistic health guru. You want to stop feeling overwhelmed, disappointed, frustrated, and helpless. And you want to be able to do more without feeling tired all the time so you can live a more spontaneous and fulfilling life. And so at the beginning of this workshop, I promised you that I would show you how to shift away from relying solely on pills, procedures, and painful physical therapy exercises to knowing what steps to take to avoid flare-ups so that you can manage your pain naturally on a neurologic level and get back to being you again. Now, here's the thing I want you to remember. Everything I've shared with you today isn't some random theory or idea that I think might work for you. Everything I walked you through today works. This is understanding the foundational science of pain. It's backed by pain neuroscience research and clinical trials, and it's worked for my clients who all started from a similar spot you're in right now. We all have busy lives, demanding jobs, household responsibilities, relationship struggles, and even once in a while, a social life. I get it. But if we don't stop and start supporting our body, all that discomfort and pain that you're feeling is just going to get worse. My clients started at the same place that you're in right now, overwhelmed, exhausted, and frustrated. So if they can do it, there's absolutely no reason why you can't as well. You've seen today that real women, just like you, said no more. They decided they wanted something more for themselves to feel better, both physically and emotionally. And instead of trying it all on their own and getting nowhere, instead of letting fear get in their way of taking action, they leaned in and got help. And this was a game changer. They knew they needed to try something different, but had no idea where to begin and no energy to even try to figure it all out on their own. And that's where I stepped in with the Chronic Pain Breakup Method. It was the one time that someone took care of them instead of them taking care of everyone else. And I'm willing to bet that a few of you here are in that same boat, taking care of everyone else around you and everything else around you. Give me a thumbs up if that sounds like your situation. So how would it feel if you didn't have to worry about a thing? Like I would just make it super easy for you, no stress, just follow the steps. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would appreciate, just having someone to guide you so you don't have to think. Carolyn says, yes, SJ. I'm a mama bear in my social circles. Yes, Kieran, Linda, yes. So I appreciate that you're here today because that shows me that you're open to receiving support and all you have to do is follow the steps. Now, to be clear, this doesn't happen by me just waving a magic wand. There has to be effort on your end to make this possible for yourself. But I've created a framework for you that is easy to customize and fit into any busy lifestyle. So you don't have to spend hours at the gym or hours and hours meditating. So it's not time consuming. Everything that I've described only takes 20 minutes. Okay, because that's a big, important part of the process. It has to be easy. It has to fit into your lifestyle. So let me know in the comments if 20 minutes would fit into your world. If you could envision spending 20 minutes on yourself a day in a way that is going to be the most supportive for you physically, for your energy, and also for you emotionally. Katrina says, for sure. Heidi, I can make that work. Ronnie, yes. Jennifer, sure could. Christy says, yes. So now, my friends, you have a choice. There's path A, which might be the path that you're already on, using temporary Band-Aid solutions to dull your pain, continuing to try more of the same category of treatments, hoping that it works even though it never has before, continuing to ride the not so merry medical merry-go-round, Googling, feeling tired all the time, and not getting any real results and afraid of getting worse. And then there's path B. If you'd rather take this matter into your own hands and tackle this pain head on and take the necessary science-backed steps to transform your pain and develop a reliable practice of real science-backed strategies for real lasting pain relief that you deserve. And so the choice is yours. So type in the chat which path sounds easier to you. You guys still there? There we go. I'm ready now. A. Linda says B. Lindsay B. Carolyn B. There we go. Thank you guys. All right. So now throughout this talk today, you've heard me mention the chronic pain breakup method, and this is how I can help you master your chronic pain naturally by finally giving your nervous system the attention that it's been screaming at you for. So I'm going to ask for your permission. Would it be okay if I just took a couple of minutes to share how I can best help you? So type yes in the comments if that's okay with you, because my job is to give you the right information so that you can feel better without the struggle. So would that be okay? And then I'll give you that free gift I mentioned at the beginning of the workshop, the chronic pain journal, and then we'll move into some Q&A. Sound good? Chrissy says yes. Karen says yes. Ronnie, of course. Linda, yes, sure. Yes. Okay. So awesome. I'm honored to be sharing this opportunity with you because the best way I can help you is by personally supporting each of you that showed up today. So if you feel good about what you've learned in the past hour with me, I'm thrilled that you've received some valuable information here today. But what I've done is I've set aside some time over the next few days so I can support you and apply everything that we went over today so that you can get your energy back and start doing more of the things you love without constantly having pain taking up space in your brain and in your body. And so where I'd like to start is with what I like to call a comfort clarity call. This is where you and I are going to connect, and I'll invite you to share with me what you're experiencing and where you're struggling. And I'll help you map out a plan for you that will help you get you back to you. So in the 45-minute call, you're going to gain so much confidence and clarity on what to do next, because you'll be able to see how the system works and instantly put your mind at ease, knowing that you're on a path to feeling good again. And while I'm certainly not the only one who might be able to help you with your pain, there are lots of other people out there who can help you in different ways, which is great. But I'm the best at working with proactive women who want to tackle their stubborn pain naturally in a way that fits into their busy life by addressing the nervous system. I've helped transform my clients' lives, so here's what to do next. I want you to schedule your complimentary 45-minute comfort clarity call with me now. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop a link into the chat. So I'm dropping that link into the chat so you can schedule this call right here in the chat box. So click that link that I just popped in. When you click that link, it should look something very similar to this. So you can go in, pick a time and a date that fits your schedule, pop in your information, and you can put yourself into my calendar. After you schedule your call, you'll get an email confirmation so that you don't forget. The calls are done over the phone, and I'll contact you at the start time of the call. And so now that you've seen how to schedule your comfort clarity call with me, I want to go over a couple of the specifics. So on these calls, I'm going to help you get a really clear picture of what you need to do to tackle your unique pain problem. So we'll get clear on what would success look like for you and why you want less pain, any obstacles and challenges that would derail your success, the things that you've tried in the past or did or didn't work for you. I want to get a clear understanding of what's going on with you, with your health, and all the factors that come into play that are either going to help you or hold you back, so we can get clarity on what's necessary to help you. We'll discuss how to handle social situations or pressures. I know that this is a real thing for a lot of people. When you're trying to make changes, the people around you need to be accommodating. And so how do you navigate through that? Let's have a conversation about it so that it doesn't act as a barrier. We'll try to identify any self-sabotage that's happening. So this is a really important one. I shared with you some of the biggest roadblocks that my clients put up for themselves that prevent them from getting better. But when we're on the call, I'm going to ask you to be vulnerable and share where you may see yourself doing this so that I can do my best to help you find your way past this and stop getting in your own way. So this way, by the time the call is over, you'll leave with helpful strategies that propel you forward without feeling overwhelmed in the process. Does that sound good? So type yes in the comments if you know that having a call like this will help you get some clarity about what you need to do to get back to being you. Lindsay says yes. Stacy says yes. Awesome. So here's the important thing to know. This call is 100% free. Now you may be thinking, okay, there must be a catch to this. She just told me that there's all these ways that she's going to help me. So why is the call free? First off, the call is free because this is my mission in life. Like literally my life's work is to support people with chronic pain in a way that doesn't involve relying solely on medical interventions. I have a core value in my life where I offer value first. So I start off by helping you. I'm doing that today with this workshop, and I want to help you do that with the call where we can connect one-on-one. I know that I can help you overcome some of the barriers that have been stopping you from getting effective pain relief in a relatively short period of time. And I know that there are many of you listening that want more personalized support and accountability. If you're someone who knows that in order for you to succeed, that you need that, then great. We can discuss the next steps on the call to determine if you're the right fit for the chronic pain breakup method. And if you're not, it's completely okay. You'll leave the call with so much value, clarity, and confidence. This is just an opportunity for us to get to know each other, to offer some guidance and support and suggestions, and decide if we're a good fit to work together. There is one catch though. If you're looking for a quick fix or a magic pill, so to speak, a way to numb the pain where you don't care if it supports your mind and your body and your nervous system, then this call is not for you. This is not for you if you're not interested in learning about your body or your nervous system, or if you don't take personal responsibility for your success, because I will give you all the tools you need to be more successful. But if you're not going to do anything with them and take some personal responsibility, I can't help you. This is not for you if you're not patient with yourself. If you're someone who gets frustrated because you didn't see results yesterday, well, unfortunately, the body doesn't work that way, and we have to give it some time to adapt. This is not for people who are not committed to doing the work to make a change, or only apply half the effort and expect full results. We have to be realistic about our approach in order for this to work, but I promise you that it's not as hard as you may think. And this is not for individuals who are not open-minded to a new way of doing things. I shared with you earlier that I had to unlearn some things and find a new way of looking at things in order to move forward. And so I'll ask the same of you. And lastly, this is not for those who are not willing to communicate when things feel challenging or in order to get extra support. This is something that is super important, and I encourage all of my clients to reach out so that we have very open communication, because that's truthfully the best way that I can help. So if you're someone who's closed off and you're not willing to share, unfortunately, this would probably not be a good fit for you. But if you're someone who's willing to focus on a proven system that does work, this is the time to book that call with me. If you're someone who knows that the road to success isn't straight, it has its ups and downs, but are committed even when knowing the path is going to be a bit bumpy from time to time, this is certainly for you. When I'm asked what my favorite type of clients is, I always say it's the ones who are fully committed, because I know with full certainty that those are the ones who are going to be successful. Okay. If you want to learn about the complexities of the nervous system, how the body works and how pain works, are coachable and ask for support and accountability, and are tired of trying things that don't work and are just done getting short-term results, then this is the time to book that call with me. So if you're at that point where you're like, I'm done, just tell me what to do and I'm going to do that, I feel confident that this is the right path, then absolutely book a call. Let's book a call together and map out that plan for you. So even if you've tried physical therapy, prescription medications, massage, chiropractic care, all the things, and it hasn't worked, or even if you don't have tons of free time, this works. This works because it's based on pain neuroscience and includes the support and accountability that traditional methods don't, especially those in the healthcare system. There are nuances that only an expert can help you with because there are many other factors involved specifically for people with chronic pain that traditional programs don't cover, like the activity in your brain, your sleep, your gut, your reproductive systems, your immune system, your inflammation, hormones, stress levels. We don't exist in a vacuum because pain is so much more than our joints, muscles, ligaments, and discs. So if this is resonating with you, use that link and head over to the online calendar while we have some spots available so that we can connect and get you on the right path. Yeah, so I don't know the name, Uves. I don't work, if you have a different name, I'm not sure, but I don't recall having that conversation with you. But this call may be different than what we did if it was a while ago. So it's time for presence. There's a longer message here from Catherine. I don't know. I'm not able to read that right now, but I will read it after. But it's time for presence. So thank you for spending and attending this training today. As promised, I'm going to give you that chronic pain journal, and I'm popping the link into the box right now. So you can grab it. So this is my gift to you for committing to your health. I wanted to give you something practical that you can start using right away so you'll be better able to control your pain. So find that link in the chat box. And if for some reason it doesn't download, just send me an email and I'll make sure you get it. So now it's time for our Q&A. So I want to give you a chance to ask any questions that you might have. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some of the most common questions that I get in regards to the call. Okay, so first, do you call me or do I call you? I call you at the start of our appointment time over the phone. How long is the call? Well, the call is 45 minutes and it's free. Is there a catch? No, there's no catch. I give you the value first. This call is a service to you by discovering what's holding you back and how you can start getting your life back. I want to give you a chance to ask any questions one-on-one regarding your personal pain journey so that you can get clarity that you need. And if we both agree that you're the right fit for the program, we can talk about it then. There's never any pressure to buy anything. And then this question, can you help me if, or how can you help me if I have XYZ condition, or how can you help me if I have an incurable condition? We could spend a lot of time going through the possible scenarios of who I can help and how. So instead of wasting everyone's time, I'll tell you right now, I help you by helping you solve your nervous system problem, right? Because even if you have a structural or mechanical problem that can't be cured, or some other incurable disease or genetic condition, I know that you also have a nervous system problem. Because here's the thing, even if you have an autoimmune condition, your body is broken and beat up, you're bone on bone, and you have the body of an 80-year-old, and you can't be fixed, okay? Sure, you're right, we can't fix an incurable condition, but pain is pain. It doesn't really matter what's causing the pain or how it started. You have a nervous system problem. You have a nervous system. Your nervous system transmits danger messages and creates and amplifies pain. So you might have an incurable structural problem like a bone spur and a pinched nerve or nerve damage. You might have a degenerative disease. And no, we may not be able to fix that problem. But if you've had pain for longer than 6 months, and you've tried treatments in these other categories, then you also have a nervous system problem, because these changes in the nervous system don't discriminate. Pain is pain, okay? Okay, so if you have other questions, I don't see any other questions right now in the chat. So that's pretty much it. I want to thank you specifically for coming today. As I said before, my mission and my purpose on this planet is to give people with chronic pain a simpler way to find lasting pain relief naturally. And if you booked a call, there is a question. Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, so my question is, retraining the nervous system going to be harder with the dysfunction in the autonomic nervous system? Are they the same? My other question is, would an earlier diagnoses have prevented me from the pain I have now. 36 just diagnosed with POTS, HEDS, and 10 plus other things. So the question is, is it harder to retrain the nervous system if you have an autonomic nervous system problem or dysfunction? It doesn't make it harder or easier. And honestly, the answer is it depends. This is more of a conversation that we can actually talk through on our call. The answer is always it depends, because everyone has slightly different situations. When it comes to an autonomic nervous system dysfunction problem, like POTS, there is absolutely no reason why it can't improve. Like I said before, we may not have a cure for it, but it can improve. And so the other question that you had was, if you had this diagnosis earlier, would it have prevented your pain from happening? So if you have an incurable condition and medical treatment cannot fix it, an earlier diagnosis may or may not have helped. Really, the way that I look at this is like having a diagnosis can give people a lot of peace of mind and ease, and knowing what's going on in their body is incredibly therapeutic in a sense, because it helps you decide on what to do moving forward when you have an answer of like what's going on. So would it have been helpful to have that diagnosis previously? I always say, like, the earlier you can get out of pain, the better. But again, it depends. This is a really tough question, because if you do have that type of a condition that's incurable, and medical treatment may not have helped, I don't know if that would have been beneficial. But what I can say is that it probably would have eliminated some of the medical trauma that's associated, and all of the, I don't know, mindless hamster wheel spinning that you have to go through in terms of like navigating the medical system and causing more trauma, which can absolutely cause more pain. Okay, next. Kieran says, I noticed that you said that pain is not because of repressed emotions. What if it was stress/trauma that causes the changes in the nervous system? Wouldn't you have to manage that stress to heal the nervous system? If the root cause for someone's chronic pain is because of a stressful event, then will your techniques work for them, or do they need to heal their pain through a different route, such as lowering their stress? Thanks in advance. Okay, so I have seen it plenty of times where a stressful event or traumatic event causes or contributes to the pain condition. So what I was trying to say earlier, okay, so first of all, let me back up. Yes, absolutely, trauma and large stressful events are predisposing factors for getting chronic pain, for developing chronic pain. And so in order to solve that problem, it just depends. Okay, so absolutely, ultimately what it comes down to, when you have that pain that's existed for a long period of time, you end up having two problems. You have the trauma problem, and then you have your pain problem. And so it is very possible, and I've seen it, where doing trauma therapy and doing the mental health, stress reduction, trauma therapies type things has had an improvement. People have an improvement with pain with those techniques. But at the same time, their pain problem may not completely resolve. And so that's a good indication that there's a nervous system problem as well. But my thing is, I think that there's more two problems. And really, when it comes down to it, would somebody who's had a stress or trauma related pain problem benefit from a nervous system retraining? Yes, 100%. The only time they might want to hold off on doing it is if that trauma and that pain of the trauma and the mental health distress that it's causing is so much bigger than the pain itself, the symptom of pain, because that's going to get in the way of being effective with the nervous system retraining. Hopefully I answered that question. There seems to be a lot of other questions. Lisa says something about the struggling with phone calls as a Zoom call or texting session an option. Absolutely. If you book that call, you can email me in response to the confirmation and just let me know that you want to do it on either a Zoom or on WhatsApp or in Messenger or something like that. We can do that. But just you can still set up that call and then we can do it another way. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read these comments and see where the questions are. I said to bed. Thank you for answering. Okay. Okay, so okay, I hopefully answered all of your questions. If I didn't get to your question and I didn't see it because it went by me in the chat and I just missed it, please reach out to me in email. I will make sure that I get back to you. So as I said, this is what I do. This is how I help people. It's my mission. It's my purpose on this planet to help people with chronic pain. I feel like it's a calling. And so I do actually want to help you. And so if you booked a call, then I can't wait to talk with you. The call is all about me being of service to you. And if we both agree that you're the right fit, then we can discuss what that looks like. But either way, you'll get so much out of our time together. And I'm really looking forward to talking with you. So thanks again, everyone. We will talk soon. Chrissy, thank you. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Dorada. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Dawn. All right. Okay, bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.